That's some of y'all. God tell you to do something, and because of food, you're disobeying. Don't be foolish. I feel like nobody's awake, but I'm gonna do this anyway because hi, hello. I know this is rather impromptu, my bad. I was reading and I was like, I usually do these at 1, and I was gonna start doing them awake. What do you mean awake? You're not awake? It's 1 You'd be surprised. People are still sleeping. People are still sleeping. That's the business, though. Most people, they'd be like, oh, I'm still sleeping at 1. I'm like, that's crazy. Me, I can't be sleeping at 1. I feel like I waste the whole day, so I can't be doing that. But today I decided, hi, guys. Sorry, that was an accident. But yeah, people are still sleeping at 1, Kennedy. You'd be surprised. But I decided to do my reading, my Bible tea. Usually I wait till later on in the day, but I was like, I usually do it at 1. But hi, Casey. I usually do it at 1, but then I was like, let me just go ahead and do it early because I liked what I read today. And I was like, oh, this makes sense and it's kind of good. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and make it as quick as possible so I can get on and get off and you can get back to your day. Okay? Okay. So today I'm going to be reading from 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel, where am I reading from? 1 Samuel 15:10, right? Hi, Kelly. 1 Samuel 15:10. So it's about Saul. We've been on Saul. And like I said in the previous ones, I wanted to learn about King David. But I was like, well, I can't really understand King David if I don't understand Saul. And I was like, well, I can't understand Saul if I don't understand... Hey, don't do this. And I can't understand Saul if I don't understand Samuel. So now we've understood Samuel. Hi, CJ. We've understood Samuel. And now we're about to understand Saul and get done with him so we get to David. So right now... I'm going to read about how basically the Lord rejects Saul for his mistake, okay? So I'm in 1 Samuel 15:10, and I'm just going to go from there. So it says, and the Lord said to Samuel, oh, well, I guess I got to start from 15, because then you can't really understand what happened. Okay, I'm going to start from 15:1, my bad. So one day Samuel said to Saul, it was the Lord who told me to anoint you as king of his people Israel. Now listen to this message from the Lord. This is what the Lord of heaven's armies has declared. I have decided to settle accounts with the nation of Amalek. Kelly, I cannot put you on right now. I'm reading the Bible. But let me know. We'll plan something. But from Amalek, right? What does it say? For opposing Israel when they came from Egypt. Now go and completely destroy the entire Amalekite nation. Men, women, children, babies, cattle, sheep, goats, camels, and donkeys. So God is saying, like, I need you to give it everything. Everything, absolutely everything. Just kill it all, destroy it, right? Cool. That's where we are. Aw, touchy, my love. Okay, so he says, so Saul mobilized his army at Telaim. There were 200,000 soldiers from Israel and 10,000 men from Judah. Then Saul and his army went to a town of the Amalekites and lay in wait in the valley. Saul sent his warning to the Kenites, move away from where the Amalekites live, or you will die with them. For you showed kindness to all the people of Israel when they came up from Egypt. So the Kenites packed up and left. So now they're going to go kill the Amalekites, and they tell people on the way, like, yo, y'all need to leave because y'all make sense. You make sense. If you want to leave, be going. And that's what they did. So Saul slaughtered the Amalekites from Havilah to all the way to Shur, east of Egypt. He captured Agag. Agag is the king of the Amalekites, the Amalekite king, but completely destroyed everyone else. Saul and his men spared Agag's life and kept the best of the sheep, the goats, the cattle, the 5 calves, and the lambs. Everything, in fact, that appealed to them. They destroyed only what was worthless or of poor quality. So, they go to God tells Samuel to tell Saul, I need you to go to where the Amalekites are, and I need you to kill everything. Kill everything, destroy everything, just make sure you wipe it clean. And I have given you the power to do so, right? So he goes there, he kills everything, but instead of killing everything, he takes the king, keeps him alive, and then keeps all the good food. That's some of y'all. God tell you to do something, and because of food, you're disobeying. Don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. So, then we're going on to 1 Samuel 15:10. He says, I beg you. He said, then the Lord said to Samuel, I am sorry that I ever made Saul king, for he has not been loyal to me and has refused to obey my command. Look at you people. Food warriors. Look at how all of you are changing your mind because of food. Look at you. So it said, I'm sorry that I ever made Saul king, for he has not been loyal to me and has refused to obey my command. Samuel was so deeply moved when he heard this that he cried out to the Lord at night. Can you imagine? You do all this and God's like, I'm so sorry I ever put you in that position. Like, you can't even listen. You can't. So it says, early the next morning, Samuel went to find Saul. Someone told him Saul went to the town of Carmel to set up a monument to himself. Then he went on to Gilgal. When Samuel found him, Saul greeted him cheerfully. May the Lord bless you, he said. I have carried out the Lord's command. See how confident he is. He said, oh, God bless you. Look at me. Obey of all things, Jesus. And he didn't even listen. He didn't even listen. Continuing. So he said, then Samuel says, then what is all the bleating of sheep and goats and the lowering of cattle I hear? Samuel demanded. He said, it's true. The army spared the best of the sheep, goats, and cattle, Saul admitted. But they're going to sacrifice them to the Lord your God. We have destroyed everything else. Then Samuel said to Saul, stop. Listen to what the Lord told me last night. Before I go on, right? So basically, Saul is like, oh, what's good, Samuel? Like, you showed up, what's popping? Like, we got, you know what I'm saying? Like, can't believe it. I am the obeyer of all things, Jesus. I did what I was supposed to do. And Samuel's like, okay, but I hear cattle. Like, how is it that you managed to obey, but I hear animals? It's like, we know you food warriors. God's like, listen, don't eat this. And you're like, listen, I obeyed you, but your stomach is big. If you didn't eat, why are you bloated? Questions that need answers, right? So, he said, it's true. The army, he said, then Samuel said to Saul, stop, listen to what the Lord told me last night. What did he tell you? Saul asked. He said, and Samuel told him, although you may, listen, there's some parts that I highlighted because they're kind of like, said, although you may think little of yourself, you are not the leader of the tribes of Israel. The Lord has anointed you. Although you may think little of yourself, are you not the leader of the tribes of Israel? The Lord has anointed you king of Israel, and the Lord has sent you on a mission and told you, go and completely destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, until they are all dead. Why haven't you obeyed the Lord? He said, why did you rush to plunder and do what was evil in the Lord's sight? And Saul's like, but I did. He said, but I did obey the Lord. Saul insisted. I carried out the mission he gave me. I brought back King Agag, but I destroyed everyone else. Then my troops brought in the best of sheep, goats, cattle, and plunder to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. But Samuel replied, what is more pleasing to the Lord, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, or your obedience to his voice? Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice, and submission is better than offering the fat of rams. Rebellion is as sinful. Small commission, everyone. You're right, though. You're definitely right. They're freaking out. But listen, don't worry. We're getting there. Exactly. Charles said, yeah, small commission, everyone is shouting. You're right. That's what I was thinking, too. Like, but he brought it to sacrifice to you. Why are you tripping, right? Because you may be asking God questions like, why is it that big of a deal? But let's continue. He said, so because you have rejected the command of the Lord, he has rejected you as king. said, Saul pleads. So then we're going on to 1 Samuel 24. And that's where we're gonna finish it off. Then Saul admitted to Samuel, "Yes, I have sinned. I have disobeyed your instructions in the Lord's command, for I was afraid of the people and did what they demanded. But now, please forgive my sin and come back with me so that I may worship the Lord." So Saul's like, you know what? I think you're onto something. I probably may have disobeyed a little bit. I'm sorry. Come, let's go and ask for forgiveness. That's what we do a lot. It's like, okay, God, like, I know I didn't listen. Let me go say sorry. Which you should be doing. You should be asking for forgiveness. You should be repenting. But let me continue so you can understand where Saul went wrong, yeah? You can dip it. He said, but Samuel replied, "I will not go back with you. Since you have rejected the Lord's command, he has rejected you as the king of Israel." As Samuel turned to go, Saul tried to hold him back and tore the hem, and tore the hem of his robe. And Samuel said to him, "The Lord," this man is so dramatic. You tore my clothes? The Lord has torn the hem. What is it? The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to someone else. So just like you tore my shirts, God has torn the kingdom of Israel from you. See how people bars, they know how to connect. Just be linking things. You feel me? So, hi Sean. So, says one who is better than you, and one who is the glory of Israel, and will not lie, nor will he change his mind. And God will not lie, nor will he change his mind, for he is not human that he should change his mind. Then Saul pleaded again, "I know I have sinned, but please at least honor me before the elders of my people and before Israel by coming back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God." So Samuel finally agreed and went back with him, and Saul worshiped the Lord. Okay, right? So we've read all of that. It's not that long. It's not too crazy. He sounds so African, right? What an African, what an African response. Like, just like you have torn my shirts. That's how God has torn the kingdom of Israel from you, right? Like, the people in the Bible are so dramatic. They're so dramatic. So one of the biggest things I got from this was when I first read it, I was like, Lilianum, what's up, B? One of the biggest things I learned from it, I was like, why would God make such a big deal out of this? Like, okay, you told him to kill everything. He didn't, right? He didn't kill everything. He killed mostly everything, but what he didn't kill, he was gonna bring back. Sorry. Apparently, Lily doesn't like my headscarf, so I'm going to off it. Can you imagine? Sorry, yo. Apparently this looks, I was just trying to tie it, but she doesn't like it, so we're gonna take it off. Thank you, Lily. But what he brought back for the sole purpose of sacrificing it to God, right? So he's like, okay, I didn't kill everything, but I brought it back to sacrifice to you. And God started getting upset. But where I think, remember, this is not the first time that Saul has messed up. Saul has been messing up. Samuel told him to wait before going to attack the Philistines. He didn't listen. And then he went to go and be saying, oh, y'all can't eat until I defeat the Philistines. You know, he's just been messing up. So this time, God has given him a command. He doesn't obey it, but let me tell you why, right? So before I go to the reason, if we skip further down to 1 Samuel 24. Lily, stop harassing me. But if you go back to 1 Samuel 24, he said, I was afraid of the people and did what they demanded. So Saul was moving out of fear. And then if you skip back, the first thing Samuel tells him is, although you may think little of yourself, are you not the leader of the tribes of Israel? So now we see that Saul is moving out of both fear and insecurity. So literally Samuel had to tell him, although you may think little of yourself, don't you know that you're king? Like, you have to remind him, you're king. You didn't get here by yourself either. God placed you as king of the Israelites. And you're still feeling insecure. You're still doubting yourself. You're still moving out of fear. Mind you, you're the richest man in all the land. You own everything. There's nothing you don't want that God has not given you. There's nothing you want that God has not given you. And yet you're still sitting here like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to do. You're moving. Saul's an evil man. I beg, please. Please, don't talk down about my evil kings. I beg. And that just spoke a lot to me, because I feel like there's a lot of times where God places us in situations and he's like, I've placed you here, and we continue to move out of fear and insecurity. And if you think about it, I can easily understand why Saul would think, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to kill everything, but let me just bring this back, even though I'm not really supposed to sacrifice it to God. And it makes sense. To us, it would make sense like, oh, this makes sense that I want to bring it back and sacrifice it. But you didn't listen. When you begin to add sub-clauses to the rules that God has given you, you begin to move out of entitlement. He feels entitled, like, I've given you this. So to conclude it, Saul is entitled, and he's made mistakes before that have made him entitled. Do you feel like your own decision tops God? God told you to wait for Samuel. Did you wait? No. You now went to God and begin to decree and speak recklessly over your men. No. Entitlement, and then fear and insecurity. And the thing about fear and insecurity, that they'll have you moving in a way that you think makes sense. I always tell people, like, every time that you sin or you make a mistake, you have to reconcile with the fact that you're not where you were before it. So the same brain that you're using to now that same brain that you used to make those mistakes is the same brain that's there. You now have to work harder you have to work harder, how do I say this? To get away from that same mindset that put you there in the first place. So it's like, this is the same mind I used to make that mistake. Now, in order to change, I have to work harder to change my thought process, to change the way that I do things. Saul didn't do that. That's why he got to where God had said, okay, go and do this. And to him, it made sense to now go and disobey, because I'm sacrificing it to God. But that's not what God told you to do. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean that you're being obedient. And then you have to also think, he's insecure. Like, I cannot get over the fact that before Saul even admitted, okay, I was scared, Samuel said, although you may think little of yourself, are you not the leader of the tribes of Israel? Although you think that, oh, I'm not strong enough in this area, although you think I don't have all the qualifications, although you think, oh, I just got here, I don't know if people are going to respect me, God put you there for a reason. And then he put him there, and you now begin to move out of fear and make mistakes. And that cost him God. Just because doesn't mean just because it makes sense doesn't mean you're being obedient. So all of that now cost him it didn't cost him the kingdom of Israel. He still continues to be king, but not with God. God didn't help him rule over anymore. So you see how, like, that whole mindset, that understanding of where he was with God, only three people knew: Saul, God, and Samuel. To everybody else, Samuel's still that guy. Saul is still that guy, like, oh, this man is king. He has all the riches. He has all the wealth. You know what I'm saying? But God's not with him. And at the end of the day, it's better that he not be king and still have God than to be king without God. That's how sometimes it's easy to look at people and you look at their success and you think to yourself, oh, I want to be there. That makes sense. But you don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. Saul to everybody else is looking like the guy. Like, that's him. That's king. Man them like Saul. You feel me? He's out here ruling over everything. But Samuel looks at him and he says, I see a man who's lost. You see somebody that God has left because he doesn't know how to be obedient to the word of God. So before you go looking at other people and thinking, oh, this is what I want, so you better check yourself and check them. Everybody has their flaws in different areas. So you stick to your own growth. You stick to your own path. You figure yourself out. You grow with God, and you don't look at everybody else. And you don't look at other people and think, oh, I want to be there too, because you have no idea what they're going through. Because Saul looked like the guy, but this is it. Saul is still in the position of king, and God isn't with him. And to me, that's scary, to be in such a high place. You're still moving with insecurity. You're still moving with fear, and God is not with you. That's scary. I'd rather not be king. I'd rather just not be king than to be in that place. Yeah, I didn't want this to be too long. That is mostly it. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything, let me know before I end it out. But the last thing that I want to say is, amidst all of that, amidst his disobedience and everything that was going on, after he had been told that God had left him, the first thing that Saul did was to go and worship the Lord. He still went to go worship. He still went to exalt the Lord. So in your darkest times, what are you doing with it? When you feel low and you feel like nobody's there for you, you feel you've lost everything, what are you doing in that time? Because that then defines what comes out of that dark place. I don't know how he did it. You are telling me that God has left me and I'm going to go worship and say thank you? That's hard, but it's required. Remember, there's something good. Honestly, Saul has got some serious issues. He does. And you know where Saul went wrong? He didn't recognize those issues. It's better to know what your faults are and begin to move gingerly, just be moving with wisdom and discernment, than to move recklessly and not reconcile with your issues. So if Saul would have been like, you know what, Samuel, I'm still insecure in this area. I'm still fearful of a lot of things. God has placed me here as king, and I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate it. Help me. If he would have asked questions, asked for help, he wouldn't have ended up this way. But what did he do? He began to move. He didn't try to move with wisdom. He didn't try to move carefully. He just moved. And he moved out of insecurity, and he moved out of fear. And what made sense to him ended up being one of the biggest downfalls of Saul's life. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's right, guys. Every decision you make, check it. Check where it's coming from. Yeah, it's going to make you smile, but is it making you smile because you're reflecting your insecurities upon it? And to you, how do I say that? I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Last, I'm going to pray over everybody, and then we're going to get out of here. Quick and easy, all right? Okay. All right, Father, Lord, King of glory, thank you so much for allowing us to be here on this live today. Father, Lord, we ask that you give us open and receptive hearts to be able to receive everything. And I just ask that as we move, we don't move out of fear and insecurity, that you give us the wisdom to be able to move and align our footsteps with yours, and give us the discernment that we need. Remove every spirit of fear, of pride, of insecurity, and of self-doubt, O Lord, and allow us to align ourselves with you consistently. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. In those days, it was easier because the instructions were clear. People were literally hearing God. But now being disobedient is easy because you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. But, okay, you're right. You're definitely right. But the difference in those days is one thing to say in those days. We forget that all this changes circumstance and environment. But are you making an effort to hear God? It's only to say, I'm not hearing God, and then you go to sleep. But if you ask, God, I want to hear you more. Show me how to hear you more. Give me the understanding and discernment that I need to know how to navigate that part of my life so I can become closer to you. You know? I think it's very easy. But the thing is, I get it. It's very easy to look at the Bible and think, oh, that was so long ago. I cannot relate. Nobody is killing lamb on my doorstep. You know, nobody's sacrificing goats in my backyard. You know, it's very hard to relate. But then one thing that I had to do for me, that I was like, okay, God, help me to understand the Bible for myself. How do I understand it for myself so that I can now receive it and view it in a way that I feel like I can relate to it? So I don't feel like I'm reading ancient scrolls. But that's what I did. Just like I read this Bible, there's been situations that we've all been in. Actually, there have been situations that we've all been in where we're like, am I moving where it makes sense? And then in hindsight, it was like, oh, it was just my insecurity and my fear speaking. It wasn't me. So now I challenge you all to just ask, God, I want to hear you for myself. People from back then would prefer it. Oh, definitely. I feel like it was almost kind of complicated back then. Huh? You're definitely right there. I think, sorry. Yeah, so Abby said, funny thing that the people from back then would probably prefer it now. And I think you're right. I almost kind of think it's easier now. They had to go through so much because I feel like they set a lot of the foundation that we get to work off now. But you realize a lot of the same things that we're dealing with now, they were dealing with then. Fear and insecurity are not new. Self-doubt is not new. Being placed in a position of power and a position of authority and doubting it is not new. People been doing that. Your situation is not new. Go and look for it and ask God, yo, I want to be able to hear you. Let me make sure I'm answering your question. So Shalu said, in those days, it was easier because the instructions were clear. People were literally hearing God, but now being disobedient is easy because you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. The word and asking. So if I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing and I don't look in here and I realize that, I'm not supposed to be moving out of fear and insecurity, then I'm better off. So let me be praying and then be moving with discernment because I've realized, okay, I've read the Bible. I know how Saul is moving now. I'm not gonna be moving like that. So even though I don't have it all together, you take the next step based off of what you've read, based off of the situation, based off of what you read and maybe what you've heard from God. We don't have it all figured together. I don't have it all figured together, all figured out or all together all the time. But I'm willing to read and figure out what are they messing up on that I can avoid. So if I'm like, you know what, I relate to that feeling of insecurity and fear, let me pray against it. It's not every time you're gonna hear from God. Sometimes it's what you sometimes hearing from God is more than just him speaking to you. It's the situation. It's the opportunities you're presented. He's not gonna, you just saying, oh God, I want you to remove fear and insecurity. It's not just gonna happen. He's gonna put you in a situation where you're forced to deal with those things. And then you appreciate that growth even more. So if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, figure out what you're not supposed to be doing. Simple. Like that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, cool. Read the Bible, figure out what you're not supposed to do. I don't know what the next move is. I'm not supposed to move with fear and insecurity, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pray against those feelings. So the next step I take, I'm not like that. Simple like that. All right, I know we've prayed, but any more comments, questions, concerns, anything like that? Anybody else want to say? I never intend for them to be this long, but here we are. All right. Okay, so I guess that is it. No more questions, comments, concerns. I'm gonna be trying to do these Wednesdays and Fridays, and Wednesdays and Saturdays, and hopefully Saturdays I'll be having guests that I deal with. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Hit me up if you got any questions. Bye.